Isn't it fascinating how easily things change? Once you notice, because noticing is the first step, isn't it? That moment when you hear someone say, "I just can't focus," and you wonder, can't, or haven't yet? And even before they answer, something has already shifted, because now they have to think about it. And the moment they think, the belief isn't solid anymore. It's bending, moving, uncertain. And uncertainty, that is where transformation begins. Because isn't it true? Before anyone learned to walk, they fell. Before they spoke, they babbled. Before they mastered anything, they struggled. And isn't that proof, living, undeniable proof, the growth is built into them, into you, into everyone? That every "I can't" is just an "I haven't yet," waiting to be discovered. And you can see it happening, can't you? The mind searches for evidence, finds cracks in the old story, starts to wonder, and you guide it. It's funny, isn't it? How people who think they can't focus, they always seem to focus perfectly when they're interested. And their mind loops because it's true, isn't it? The same person who can't focus, they can binge watch a show for 6 hours. So it's not about ability. It's about how they think about it. And the moment they realise that, something clicks. And that is when you seal it. So what happens when you start thinking of focus as something you already know how to do? And they pause, and you know. That's the moment, the shift, because the mind loves stories, doesn't it? And every belief is just a story repeated until it feels real. But when you change the story, you change reality. And isn't it amazing how quickly the right questions, they can open a door they never knew was there, just like now. Because it's fascinating how the mind plays tricks. Or maybe, just maybe, it's revealing something deeper. Because when someone says, "I just don't have confidence," what's really happening? Are they truly missing confidence? Or have they simply been practicing self-doubt so well, so consistently it feels automatic? Like a habit, like muscle memory. And isn't it interesting that confidence and doubt, they work the same way? Both are just repeated patterns of thought. And you know what that means, don't you? If someone can learn doubt, they can unlearn it. And if they can unlearn it, they can replace it with something stronger. So you ask softly, have you ever felt even a little bit confident, even once? They stop. Their mind scans. A moment when they answered a question without hesitation. When they spoke up and didn't second guess. When they laughed without self-consciousness. And as they find that moment, something cracks. Because once you find one counterexample, the old belief, it isn't so solid anymore. And then you move again. Isn't it fascinating how confidence appears when you're not thinking about it? And the mind loops because it's true, isn't it? Confidence, it isn't something people get. It's something that naturally emerges when they stop blocking it. And then you slide in the shift. So what happens when you start treating confidence as something that's already inside you, instead of something you have to chase? And they pause, and you know something new is settling in. Just like when someone says, "I always procrastinate." Always, every single time. And you tilt your head just a little because you know the truth, and so do they, always. Or just when it's something you think you should do, instead of something you want to do. And suddenly, they're remembering a time they jumped into action without hesitation, without delay, without resistance. And doesn't that mean they already know how to take action? That they have proven they can? And if they've already done it before, what's stopping them from doing it again? And that is where the story begins, because beliefs aren't walls, they're doors. And once you realise that, you can walk through them anytime you like now. And isn't it curious how people trap themselves in words without even realising it? Like the person who sighs and says, I'm just not a creative person, and you wonder, is that really true? Or is it just something that they told themselves so many times that it feels true? Because creativity, it isn't some mystical gift. It's a process, a way of thinking, a habit. And if they ever solved a problem, told a joke, or found a new way to do something, haven't they already been creative? So you lean in just slightly and ask, not creative? Or just expecting creativity to look a certain way? And they hesitate because maybe, just maybe, they've been creative all along, without calling it that. Or what about the person who says, I'll never be good at public speaking? Never. As if speaking in public requires a completely different mouth, a different brain. And you ask, have you ever told a story to a group of friends? And they nod, of course. And they listened, right? Laughed, reacted, another nod. So you already know how to speak in front of people, and they blink. Because now never has turned into maybe. And maybe is the crack where transformation begins. Like the person who insists, I just don't have discipline, and yet every morning without fail they brush their teeth. They check their phone. They tie their shoes the same way. Drink coffee from the same cup. Park in the same spot. They have discipline. They just don't realise it. So you ask, or have you just been disciplined at the wrong things? And their mind spins because suddenly, discipline, it isn't something they lack. It's something they've already mastered in certain areas. And if they can be disciplined there, they can be disciplined anywhere. Because it's fascinating how one shift, one crack in an old belief, it lets something new take root. Because people, they don't lack creativity or confidence or discipline. They've just forgotten where they already have it. And when you remind them, when you guide them into seeing what's been there all along, they change. Naturally, effortlessly and permanently.